Welcome back to Backward Point Podcast. My name is Nazar Sayed, and this is an episode about Test match cricket and the ICC Awards. With me, as always, is my brother and co-host Bashar Sayed.
Hello, everybody. This is the revival of Test Cricket Podcast. This past Sunday was a historic one. We saw West Indies beat Australia for the first time in Australia in 27 years. At the same time, England beat India in India. It seemed like it was the place to be or the fans to be if you're touring away. And I think that's what we want to talk about. We'll talk about the West Indies Australia test match, the India versus England test match. The ICC Awards just commenced. So we'll talk about that as well. So that's going to be the gist of what this podcast is going to be.
And a lot of people have been noticing that we've been a little bit silent and a little bit busy with our podcast releases. This episode should have come out a few days ago. We do realize that. But if you are on our Patreon, you would know why we're busy. We have a very, very special announcement coming soon. But again, if you're on our Patreon, we already announced it. We already told you guys what's up. And there's a bit of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge going on with that. But we're working on something really exciting. We're working on something way bigger than any of us imagined, especially when we started this podcast. And it involves travel. It involves podcasting. And it involves a lot of our time. So we're busy with that. And that's why you'll see the frequency of the podcasts lessen in the next few weeks. Hopefully you'll know by then why that's the case. If you guys still want to find out, you guys can go over to the Patreon, sign up, support the podcast, support our endeavors, and find out what's going on with Backward Point because exciting things are happening. As always, you're free to join the memberships in the description below as well. We have a YouTube membership. We have a Spotify membership. It's only $2.99 a month. If you guys want to join it, help support the podcast, get some exclusive episodes that are already lined up and that have been posted there. And as always, Discord fam, you guys want to be a part of free community of cricket-loving fans, non-toxic cricket-loving fans, check out the Discord in the descriptions below.
Shamar Joseph. Remember the name. Where is Ian Bishop where you need him? Where is he?
He was in the comms, I believe. No, Lara was in the comms.
I think Ian Bishop was working for Channel 7.
Yes.
So it seems like they have two different broadcasts going, Channel 7 and Fox Cricket. I mean, I don't know why you couldn't just merge each one. Why split the audience? Anyways.
Why not? Like some people prefer to listen to Channel 7. Channel 7 is more of I think they have radio as well. And that's where Wasim Akram was giving his wanker story. I don't know if people were following that. I know I did.
Banker story.
I know I did. I followed that story.
That was actually...
that was Channel 7.
Channel M? It's some different channel. They do radio commentary during the match, and they actually have some insane reactions to iconic moments. The Rory Burns wicket off the first ball of the Ashes, one of the best reactions came from that radio show where they were commenting and also recording their reactions live. I guess that's what we aim to be.
Yeah, live. Yo, imagine a Backward Point feed, right? Live in a match. We wouldn't have to be on YouTube crying.
That would be crazy.
That'd be insane. Is that the goal?
I mean, for the first time, we might be ahead of our Discord fam because they have some weird stream where they always seem to be a couple of deliveries ahead of everybody else.
Ali Nihari from the Discord is 10 seconds into the future, guys. That's just the fact. There's Ali Nihari, who's part of the Discord community, who streams matches as well from time to time. And his stream is just like at least 20 seconds ahead. He knows everything that's going on. So, but what he didn't know was that West Indies was going to win this game. Did you? Did you have an inkling?
No. When this test series was scheduled, when I heard and saw the West Indies squad, I believe they had 7 uncapped players. Some of their main players like Jason Holder and Kyle Mears opted to play franchise league cricket instead of being in Australia with the West Indies squad. So immediately I felt like this is going to be a very young West Indian team. A lot more inexperienced to the Pakistan team that just went to Australia. And I'm very happy for West Indies. I couldn't be more ecstatic. Same time, I'm also very sad that if West Indies can go and draw the series 1-1, if they can have a youngster like Shamar Joseph come up and be the player of the match, in the second test and the player of the series in his debut series, ahead of some great fast bowlers that are currently playing with the likes of Mitchell Stark, Pat Cummins, Josh Hazelwood. He outperformed everybody. And it just made me think, like, would things have been different if Haris Rauf maybe prioritized Test cricket instead of the Big Bash? If
Wait,
maybe,
is that a rhetorical question, or do you actually want me to answer that?
it's sort of a rhetorical question. At the same time, it's a question that I'm putting up. It's up there, it's out there. Maybe let me know in the comments, guys, and
I'll let you know right now. I don't think anything would
let
have been
me know in
different.
real time.
I don't think anything would have been different if Haris Rauf is not Shamar Joseph.
But Haris, so the reason I think one thing missing in the Pakistan bowling attack was pace. Amir Jamal had some of it, and we saw how well he performed. Maybe if we had that X factor 145, 150 clicks bowler, we would have seen a different result. Because Shamar Joseph, he's very inexperienced. I saw his bowling in the first innings, and he was bowling a lot of over pitch deliveries. He went for lots of runs this whole test match, but he had pace. He bowled a few deliveries in the right areas, and that's what got him the wickets. Swinging the ball at 135 versus 145 makes a huge difference in your reaction and how the ball is swinging in the air, if it's late swinging. And it just made me think. I was pondering about it. Like, what if Haris Rauf was playing? What if maybe it's a what if podcast?
I don't think this is the what if podcast, but I think if I were to put my thinking caps on, I don't think the right comparison with Shamar Joseph is Haris Rauf. I think the right comparison is with Amir Jamal, which is the one that you made already. And I think Amir Jamal had a very similar series to Shamar Joseph. I think Amir also picked up 7 in an innings, and he was there batting as well near the end. His runs are the reason that Pakistan even had a chance at the MCG. And I think it all comes down to catches. I don't even think it's about the pace. I don't think it's about anything. I think Pakistan bowled extremely well in this test series before the West Indies went to the Australia, the fray, as you call it. I think Pakistan had a really good bowling attack. I think Pakistan, it may be inexperienced, but they pulled through. It was the fielding that let them down.
Do I dare say catches win matches?
You don't say that. We're canceling the podcast after this. This is so cringe.
But yeah, if Abdullah Shafiq and Saim Ayub had been a bit more secure
there we go
in the slips,
exactly,
this could have been a different result for Pakistan. I know this is a West Indies Australia match, but as a Pakistani, I'm self-reflecting.
No, for sure. And I think you have all the right to. I think a lot of people on the internet were getting annoyed at Pakistani fans being like, hey, this is a West Indies win. Why are you lamenting your loss? It's only because I think Pakistanis know in their gut that in the 3-match series, we had at least one solid opportunity to bring it back.
You wanted to see Wasim Bhai crying in the commentary box.
When I tweeted that from Backward Point, I was like, when are we going to see Wasim Bhai cry in the comms? It's been too long. Has that ever happened? I don't know. But seeing Brian Lara cry in the comms, seeing what it meant to the West Indian people, seeing Shamar Joseph just run like Usain Bolt across the ground, it just, how much this means to them. It was an experienced team. Craig Brathwaite, it was what, his 7th or 8th test match captaining. It was not even a long-term captain.
They don't play many tests anyways.
They played 4 tests last year or 5 tests last year. It was 5. In the single digits. Crazy numbers like that. And this just goes to show, this is a podcast that we actually recorded before about where we talked about all of this stuff. I don't think it's come out yet, but we talked about how teams like the West Indies that have championship DNA within them need more opportunities for games like these. Now, why the hell this was a 2-game test series, I don't get it. Even numbered series in general should just be abolished. I don't think there's any room for that kind of mediocrity in cricket right now. Right, we're struggling to sustain a longer format, and then we get results like this, which is just spectacular, but then annoying at the same time, because maybe West Indies would have found the confidence to go back and secure a second one, and suddenly West Indies have won the series, And I would have liked a decider for sure. I think this team, even though this is a young underdog team versus Goliath, the champions, I think it would have been a good face-to-face. Even if West Indies would have lost that 3rd game, I think they would have gone with the fight.
Let's talk a bit more about Shamar Joseph. You mentioned the similarity of him and Amir Jamal. One more thing in common is that, so Amir Jamal used to work as an Uber driver. Shamar Joseph used to work as a security guard. And he comes from a small village in Guyana, which didn't even have internet until 2018. You know, he was discovered recently at the CPL when he was a net bowler for the Guyana Amazon Warriors. And they had an injury to one of their bowlers in the squad, and they drafted up Shamar Joseph in the team. They went on to win the CPL, and he put his hand up to play this test series. Just his first ball in test match cricket, he gets Steve Smith out. Steve Smith, who averages over 60 in test matches, one of the greats of the modern era, one of the Fab Five batsmen of the series. He finishes with a Player of the Match award in the last test and the Player of the Series award. He exchanged shirts with Pat Cummins, which I felt like was an amazing gesture. And immediately, because of his performances in Australia, he was drafted in the T20. In the PSL, Zulmi was very quick on drafting him.
That's what I just said in the opening. I was like, the greatest Zulmi ever is Shamar Joseph. I think Shamar Joseph just has one of those fairy tales that, again, not to be blatant and redundant with what I'm saying, but it could have been an Amar Jamal type of story, right? And Shamar Joseph is living that story right now. He's on cloud nine. He's making it happen, and from nowhere, he wasn't supposed to be in the Test series. If the West Indian players that chose SA20, Desert Vipers, SA20 and the ILT20, the Desert Vipers has some of the players that we like, and it just goes to show, like, if you prioritize the game will prioritize you.
No one's gonna remember how Kyle Mayers played in the SA20, but Shamar Joseph has registered his name in the history of Test match cricket, of West Indian cricket, to play a vital role in their first win in Australia in 27 years. I love the way West Indies plays. They're one of the most mercurial teams. They've given us one of the greatest moments of the last decade with the Carlos Brathwaite in the finals, knocking India out of the 2016 T20 World Cup. And they just keep on giving and giving and giving. And we need to see more of them. We need to see more opportunities within West Indies cricket. We need to see more money being pumped into West Indies cricket, because their cricket board's struggling with being in debt, with not being able to pay the players enough money to sustain. That's why players like Sunil Narayan, Andre Russell, Chris Gale, Evan Lewis, they've all opted to play T20 franchise league all over the world versus representing West Indies.
No, I think that's very well said. I think we should move on to the next special test that we want to talk about, one that's close to my heart. Another blinder of a test match, the first test match in the series where India is hosting England. And England managed to sweep this one from the jaws of defeat into victory. India lose the first test match. What are your thoughts about that? First test match was at Hyderabad as well. I think that's the home ground of Ashwin. Am I right?
No. Ashwin is from... He's Tamil.
He's Tamil. Okay.
Yeah, so he is from Chennai, I believe. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm wrong here. I don't know exactly where Ashwin is from. I should be better, well informed. Yeah, the problem is India has been struggling recently with playing test matches at home. They've lost a few tests now in a row at home. Their fourth home test defeat in the last decade, and 2 have come in the last 3 test matches. Questions on Rohit Sharma's captaincy. Virat Kohli obviously is not available for the first few test matches. He has opted out for personal reasons. Shubman Gill has been a flop at number 3 for India for the past few test matches. And for someone like a Hartley on debut coming in and taking 7 wickets in the 4th innings and ensuring England beat India to what Ben Stokes has said to be the best win under this Bazball era under his captaincy. So commendable. Love to see it. I love to see teams going away and winning and competing, because cricket in that sense has become very one-dimensional, where it's just a given that the home team is going to be dominating, right?
Yeah,
because conditions in cricket are very, very vital. And more often than not, in India, it's hard to even come close to beating them.
And then the home team also has that advantage where they can curate the pitch and the condition in such a way that gives them an extra edge. And we've seen that many a times with Australia with the pitches they create, England with the pitches they create, India with the pitches they create. It almost seems like Pakistan is the only team that this has not gotten the pitch game down. But even Bangladesh creates rapid turners. Like if you look at the BPL, a lot of those wickets are not for T20s. Like, low scoring games, 140s, 150s, chasing, not chasing sometimes. And this goes to show that England out there with Bazball, they've redefined the game of Test cricket. They've redefined how to win. They've redefined almost the aspect and the margins that they play with. They've sort of blown it all out of proportion, and they've rewritten the rules of Test cricket. The one stat that stood out to me extremely, I know the Hartley stat was crazy with the fourth innings, but Joe Root took 4 wickets in the first innings. He gave away 79, 5 maidens, bowled almost 30 overs, bowled 29 overs, took 4 wickets. And not just like any wickets. He got Jaiswal out, Bharat out, Jadeja out, and Bumrah near the end. So, Joe Root having a turner, and Rehan Ahmed also took a couple there. Definitely spin tracks. We knew that. But even Ben Stokes had to bowl Mark with 17 overs there in the first innings. And you can come and see that it was the Ollie Pope 196 that sort of saved the whole test match for England. England were, 140 for 4, and they managed to go to 420 because Ollie Pope said, no, I'm gonna sit this one out. He played at a strike rate of 70, 21 fours, and he was out there for almost 340 minutes. He really wanted England to see it through. And then when you come into the fourth innings and you have a bowler like Tom Hartley who's just out there spinning it a mile, bowling it in the right areas, the right amount of loop, the right amount of straighter ones, just lovely to see.
Yeah, I didn't have England scoring 420 in the second innings because they had a really huge trail of 190 runs. So for them to first cover that trail and then make the lead high enough to set India a challenging total.
I mean, the third innings that England played, they were playing at a run rate of 4.11.
Comes back to basketball, comes back to how they've made Test cricket watchable now. They're playing results driven Test cricket, and that's what we want. We don't want to see 5-day games where it's going nowhere. It's not even competitive. You're scoring 600, we're scoring 500, and just
to draw.
There's it's not going anywhere.
Speaking of results oriented Test cricket, the one thing that we forgot to mention in our previous topic was how Pat Cummins declared with the trail.
Yeah,
12-run trail, I believe. It wasn't long, but it was just enough and they lose by what, 7 runs?
Yeah, there were a few overs left to go in the day, and he wanted to come at the West Indian openers, and he got a wicket. He got, I think they were like 13 for 1 at the end of the day, and it was actually crazy because Sunday I woke up and I checked Cricinfo, and I couldn't believe West Indies beat Australia and England beat on India. Just incredible scenes. I think this is really good for Test cricket. We talked about the revival of it. I think we need games like these. We need characters like these to help continue to make Test cricket interesting, to have the fans engaged. And with a barrage of T20 cricket coming our way with the PSL, with the ongoing leagues right now, with the IPL coming up, and then to top it all off, we have the T20 World Cup in June. So good to experience tests coming our way. I think there's 4 more tests in the England versus India test series. So hopeful to see how India comes back from this. Lots of question marks on Rohit Sharma's captaincy. People are like, bring back Virat Kohli. We miss his captaincy.
Always.
We're having the same issue. People are saying we miss Babar Azam's captaincy. Some in test match would disagree. I think Sean's doing well. Let's keep up with him. Let's continue to support him. I love his tactics, and Rohit Sharma just needs to find a way here to get out of this hole and encourage his team to bounce back.
Speaking of bouncing back and coming back, your boy Bashir is now finally back in India. How do you feel about that?
Yeah,
that whole controversy was
insane.
Would you want to talk about it?
That was insane. So if you're living under a rock, you don't know, there's this player that England had in their squad. Bashir, what's his name? Bashir Ahmed?
No, his last name is Bashir. His first name is
Shoaib,
I believe.
Shoaib. Okay, yeah. So Bashir. Let's
Shoaib
talk to him.
Bashir. Also, just a little point, Ravichandra Ashwin is from Chennai.
Okay, good. Nice. Because his YouTube channel is in Tamil.
Okay.
I watched some of his videos and they're pretty good. Ashwin, keep it up.
Ashwin is a good journalist. He has some really good interviews.
He's actually also very smart about cricket. He posted a video the next day after he hit the winning shot against Pakistan, the T20 World Cup at MCG. And he was just walking us through exactly what was going through his head, what Virat Kohli was telling him, how the crowd was, the winning shot he played, how he left that ball before that was wide, and how critical that could have been if that hit his leg. So just Ashwin doing Ashwin things. He's a very smart bowler. I would say he's very underrated, maybe because he oftentimes does not get the credit he deserves. When India goes away, they sometimes opt for 3 or 4 seamers plus Jadeja, because Jadeja gives them a lot more batting stability. But I believe Ashwin should be a core member of India's Test squad, whether they're playing home and away. Because
he's 37.
But Nathan Lyon plays everywhere. It doesn't matter if it's a fast track, spin track. He's part of Australia's playing 11.
Yeah, but
they don't change their fast bowling, the quad group they have going.
Ashwin is 37 though.
So what? He's taking wickets. I think he's on the verge of 500 wickets, 495.
For in test match or just in total?
Test matches.
496.
496. So
verge of 500.
I mean, he's on the verge of 500. I think he's one of India's best spinners. I mean, exceeds Harbhajan Singh in terms of the wickets he has, and below Anil Kumble. So, and actually, he has a decent batting average too. He has a few Test match hundreds. He's more than handy with the bat. So sometimes he goes under the radar. Got good variations as well. In the IPL, he has like a carom ball. He has an in-swinging ball. I was watching a video of just all the variations. He has a top spinner, a genuine off spinner, carom ball. He has like a slider. So he's a very smart bowler.
Ashwin's a good chap. So let's move it back to what we were talking before, from one bash to the other. How long do you think it'll take you to get a visa for India?
Man, if someone like Shoaib Bashir can get it, who's part of the England squad touring to India, I'm probably never getting it.
Born and raised in England, by the way. And it's not one of those immigrant
Are you sure?
things.
Was he born in Pakistan?
He has Pakistani heritage. I don't think he's
Okay.
born in Pakistan.
So how did Rehan Ahmed get his visa? Because he's also Pakistani descent.
Is he not Bengali?
No.
Doesn't he have Bangladesh descent?
No, bro. You shouldn't have said that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yo, you tell me again. I read that somewhere on the internet.
No, he's not. He's not Bangladeshi. I'm very sure he has. Yep, he has a Pakistani background.
All right,
Yeah.
my bad, Rehan. Rehan, listen to the podcast.
He likes
too.
some of our clips. Rehan, maybe we can DM him.
Rehan, come to the pod. Let's
Yeah.
figure this out. Where are you from, bro?
Yeah.
No, but yeah, the whole bash thing. Shoaib Bashir, we got Bashar Sayed in the house as well. Tell me what happened. Walk me through it, bro.
So I think in England was going to India, obviously, for this tour. And they had a layover in Dubai. And Shoaib Bashir does not get his visa. So legally, he cannot enter the premises of India. And the reason why they're saying his visa got delayed is because of his Pakistani heritage. Now, if you know anything about the geopolitics of India and Pakistan, you know it's tough to get an Indian visa when you're a Pakistani.
Shoaib Bashir, born October 13th, just like my son.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, October 13, 2003, in Chertsey, Surrey. Pakistani heritage. I told you this.
Maybe it's a Pakistani nominated region.
I'm just saying. All I'm saying is like it's almost blatant how this worked, and yeah, I mean it was shameful. India definitely got called out. Their policies got called out. A lot of things came under the scrutiny of whatever the Pakistanis were crying about during the World Cup. The Pakistani journalists not getting visa. I think Ahmed Nawaz on Twitter was very vocal about what his
Atif Nawaz.
Atif Nawaz, I'm sorry.
From the BBC.
Yeah, from the BBC. He was very vocal about his experiences trying to get the visa. Usman Samiuddin was very vocal about his experiences. He was only able to get the visa for the semis and the final. And just one of those situations where it feels quite blatant what the delay was. Nobody's coming out right and saying it. I think Ben Stokes was genuinely pissed off about it. rightfully so. I think I'd be really upset about that as well. And yeah, like this is just an unfortunate thing that keeps on going, and somebody's got to step up and say something sometime soon. If an English player of Pakistani descent has issues, what happens to Pakistani players if they want to come? Well, they don't want to come, but you know when a World Cup happens, when journalists want to come, when fans want to come, just imagine the rigmarole they have to go through. And this is exactly one of the reasons why we didn't even bother trying to get our visas for India. Even if we could have, we didn't bother because it would have been something like this.
And imagine things from Shoaib Bashir's POV, right? He's 20 years old. He's about to go to India, first tour, make his test debut potentially, and he gets stopped in the UAE. Like, what does that do to him mentally, his morale? And now, because I think Jack Leach is injured, so he will likely make his debut in the second test. So, well, I hope he comes strong. I hope he has a good comeback, a good debut, because Ben Stokes has a good record of having spinners making debut under him and them taking lots of wickets on debut. Tom Hartley is one of the examples. I'm missing the other one who played a test match under Ben's captaincy. So yeah, looking forward to the second test. Hoping India bounce back. Shubman Gill, question on his form. Virat Kohli, does he come back? Is he still missing a few more test matches? We have to wait and find out.
Yeah, I think the only way for Shoaib Bashir to really come back and give his second give a second life to this test match is to take wickets. Give them a real take a fifer. I think that'll be a great reply back to all the naysayers. And the final topic we had for today, Bashar, was the ICC awards. I think you're gonna have to lead this one because my laptop just died. So that's what I was signaling to you beforehand. And so the ICC awards just happened. Some called it the Indian Cricket Awards. I don't know if you're in that same boat, same camp, but it did feel a little biased. But then again, India was a team that made it to the finals of the WTC the WTC didn't happen last year, did it? 2022.
23.
2023.
It did, yeah.
Yes. And then they also made it to the final of the World Cup. So the argument is that why not? Why shouldn't Virat Kohli be the player of the year? Why shouldn't Surya Kumar Yadav be the player of the year in T20 eyes? And I don't know. I'm throwing it to you. Why and why not?
Yeah, I'll just walk you through who won what awards.
Yes.
The biggest award of the year, which is the Sir Garfield Sobers ICC Men's Cricket of the Year award, goes to nobody else but Pat Cummins. Deserves it. WTC winning captain, ODI World Cup winning captain, takes the key wicket of Virat Kohli in the final, and just an out and out great performance for him last year.
And a public opinion saying that he genuinely is attractive. So there you go. You heard it here first.
Moving on. ICC Men's Test Cricketer of the Year was Usman Khwaja. You can take the Pakistani out of Pakistan, but you can't put the Pakistani in the Australian.
Yeah, you did not know where you were going with that.
in the Australian Pakistani. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yuzi Khwaja.
Yeah.
Science is the man.
Science is the man, bro. He gave us the greatest moment of all time in cricket. Him and Saeed Ajmal. It doesn't happen with anybody else. Science is the man. And he's the man. He's the ICC Cricketer of the Year.
The way he kept a straight face
during that whole, oh my God.
That deserves an ICC award of its own. ICC Men's ODI Player of the Year, Virat Kohli. There's nobody else who deserves this award more than VK18 himself.
Are you contesting this at all, or just
completely? No contesting at all. Yeah. There shouldn't even be runners up for this award, because the way he performed in the ODI World Cup, literally outscoring everybody in ODI World Cup history. Very sad again for him and his legacy that they weren't able to win the World Cup. Would have loved to see him and Rohit lift the trophy. Men's T20 Cricketer of the Year.
No, is this contentious for you?
Sky. Surya Kumar Yadav. In his defense, or anyone's defense, there wasn't a lot of T20 cricket played last year because there was an ODI World Cup year. Most teams were playing ODIs all year long. So I think in the very little amount of T20s that were played, Sky did perform very well. So I mean, I don't know of anybody else to contest this award in front of Sky.
Now, is the award T20I Player of the Year or T20 Player of the Year?
T20I.
All right, so the T20 leagues don't count at all.
No.
Maybe if you involve them, then you probably have a bigger pool data set.
Well,
pull from.
I don't think you can because every league has a different standard. Like you can't compare the IPL to the BPL. Just the quality of those leagues. Like if somebody's the highest run scorer of the BPL, you can't compare him to the highest run scorer of the IPL because those two leagues have very different standards.
Yeah,
Playing
but let's
conditions.
say that same player who's the highest run scorer of the BPL is also the highest run scorer of the T20, the PSL. That's 3 leagues.
Yeah, but what happens to the Indian players? They only play the IPL.
Well, that's on them. That's on them, isn't it?
I have this idea, right? The ICC should organize, or they should bring back the Champions League.
Oh, yes.
Bring back the CL T20, have all the winners of every franchise league play against each other in one massive tournament, block out a 4-week window, and just give us that tournament. I loved it when it happened last time.
It only happened the one time.
Yeah, I mean, like Mumbai facing Lahore, Faisalabad Wolves playing against some of the other bigger teams. So, I mean, never forget, Ahmed Shahzad smashed Bumrah back in 2013.
That's true.
It's on record.
It's on record. And I feel like I agree with that. I think if you want to keep the excitement of the T20 leagues, let it actually mean something. Like let Vancouver Knights or like Montreal Tigers who won the T20, if that means something, that will just imagine the competition in the finals then. They want to make it to the Champions League. They want to play. It's just the same. It's the same. The portfolio. It's the same plans as the Premier League and the European football nations do. And I think it's successful. People genuinely enjoy that. Bring it over to cricket. Why not?
There is one problem with that, however. So what's happened with so many leagues happening all over the world is most of these IPL teams have branched out and they've had their own teams in every single league. So, for example, the KKR in the IPL has the TKR. In the CPL, they have a team in the MLC. They have a team right now in the ILT20, and they've sort of signed up a few select players to play in all of their leagues across franchises. So, for example, Sunil Narine and Andre Russell selectively only play for the Knight Riders franchise. What happens if the KKR wins the IPL and the TKR wins the CPL? Where is Andre Russell and Sunil Narine playing from?
I think there has to be a clause in their contract on what the priority team is. If the home team is Kolkata Knight Riders, they play there, I guess.
Yeah, but that's just going to happen with more and more players.
There's limited players.
I mean, yeah, because Trent Bolt is doing the same thing. So is Nicholas Puran. So is Kieron Pollard. So that's just going to be the one issue they need to sort of tackle. Like who plays on what team if both of the franchises teams qualify.
I guess you let the player choose, no?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard. Why would the player
if the Desert Vipers qualify and Islamabad United qualifies, Azam gets to choose where he wants to play.
Yeah, I'm not sure if giving it to the players would be a good idea. Like, what if Desert Vipers gets pissed that Azam picked Islamabad and they don't pick him the next season? They're like, oh, your priority is Islamabad. Goodbye.
I mean,
so there should be some rules around it.
But the bottom line is that this should still happen. People really enjoyed it the first time it happened. I remember it was a big deal. I think it only happened that one season. I don't know.
It happened a couple of seasons, actually.
Happened 2 seasons? Who won the first
Lahore
season?
Lions played one season. And that was an amazing team. Like 6 or 7 of the Pakistan team players at the time were playing in Lahore. Umar Akmal was there. Nasir Jamshed was there. Ahmed Shahzad, Wahab Riaz. Maybe missing a few players. And then Faisalabad Wolves also played. And that had like Muhammad Hafiz, Misbah ul Haq, Ajmal. So Pakistan had a decent team playing in those leagues.
Yeah, definitely. That should be something that happens. But coming back to the whole ICC awards, any standouts? Anything that any snubs? Any disses?
No, I think moving on with the award. Actually, I mean the emerging player of the year was Rachin Ravindra. He lit up the World Cup. No surprises there. And the associate player of the year was Bas de Leede from Netherlands. So yeah, I think
he had a really good World Cup too.
Yeah, good World Cup. Good couple of wins in the World Cup. Good player all around. I think he's also been picked up in a few of the leagues around the world. So good to see him get that dough. as needed. But aside from that, I'm not contesting any of these awards. I don't
Well
think.
deserved, you
Yeah,
think?
the one thing that I am sad about is that the Pakistani cricketers dominated the awards for the past couple of years, barring this year. Like, I think Shaheen was the Cricket of the Year in 2021, and then Babar Azam was the Cricket of the Year in 2022, and now no Pakistani player is.
Even the nominations.
Yes.
This goes to show the year that they had, right? Like it was just a terrible year in all fronts. Uh, uh, another World Cup not qualifying for the playoffs, another Asia Cup down the drain. Series wins, yes, but doesn't really matter at the end of the day if you don't have the silverware to show for it.
Agreed.
So I think yeah, I agree with you. That not a very uncontested ICC awards, although it was heavily skewed towards the Australians and the Indians. But then again, they were the better teams of the year, so why not? I think this is a good place to end it. Any other thoughts and feelings before we sign off, Bashar?
No, I am just excited whenever the news drops of what we've been up to, because it is consuming a lot of our time. We're excited. We can't wait for you guys to find out. It's gonna be huge, and just can't wait.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to end it. Keep an eye out on our socials for any announcements anytime soon. Keep an eye out on our YouTube channel. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't. Again, all the links to our ways to support our podcast are in the description below. Feel free to check them out. My name is Najah Sayed. With me as always, Bashar. And we'll see you guys in the next episode of Backward Point coming soon.
See you.